So today's been a crazy day for Power Ranger fans. Not only did we get Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 106 dropping, we also got the trailer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the 30th anniversary special reunion, dropping as well. So if you haven't seen my reaction to the trailer, go check it out. I've got more Once and Always content planned along the way, so if you're a fan of that special coming out, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new for more Power Rangers related content. But today, we're going to talk about the comics because this issue was freaking crazy. Not only that, it ended on a crazy cliffhanger, and that was Zed, Lord Zed, morphing into a Ranger. So, if you remember at the end of the Eltarian War, Lord Zed sort of left a something in the command center, and we had no idea what that was going to be. It was kind of left a big mystery, but in this issue that mystery is solved, and apparently it was a morpher, a sort of reverse morpher, a Z design morpher that allows Zed to transform into his own Ranger form. That's right, Lord Zed morphs into a Ranger in this issue, and I gotta say, his design looks pretty freaking sweet. But that's on the last page. Let's take it back a bit and sort of recap, review, discuss issue 106 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Let's go. So the issue opens up with a battle between Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa, and this is how we sort of see Lord Zed recruiting Rita into his ranks. And this battle is sort of like referenced later on in the issue because Lord Zed puts it this way. He says that Rita Repulsa is a monster of his own making. Time after time he showed her mercy, and now he's paid a heavy price for it. So he's saying because he never finished off Rita when he had the chance and sort of showed her mercy for every stuff up she ever made, this is coming back to haunt him and sort of bite him in the ass for letting her live all those times. So I do like how that flashback comes into play later down the line, but it's also kind of cool to see the battle that Lord Zed and Rita had back in the day and sort of how he recruited her, because Rita was very faithful to Master Vile, her father, and you sort of see her sort of get persuaded to join Lord Zed's side because Lord Zed says to Rita, you can do much greater if you work for me. So that's where that flashback ends. Meanwhile, in the present, you can see sort of like the tension between with what's going on because they're still sitting around, they still can't go out and find Matt, and even though they found the Master Arch or the Navigator, they get the lore for the Master Arch and the Navigator in this issue. But not only that, we also find out that Grace sort of went to that planet ages ago and started digging about in the ruins, and then we find out later on in the issue that she found her own sort of Navigator. And I do like how Billy says to Grace, saying, hey, why didn't you tell us that you sort of went to that planet? And Grace is like, you're a teenager. I run a business, I run a company, I run a facility. Why do I have to tell a teenager about every discovery we make? But in this issue, you can sort of see the tensions rise between Tommy and Kimberly, where Tommy is unsure if he made the right decision by letting Matt make the choice to leave him behind, because you don't even know what kind of danger he's in. And then you've got Kimberly, who doesn't want to sit on her ass and do nothing because Matt's out there, and she doesn't know what horrible things are being done to him right now. So there's sort of that sort of point of view for these two characters. Meanwhile, you've got Zordon, who is terrified, and Grace even points it out to him, saying, hey, you're scared about something, or you're not doing this for their protection, you're doing it for your own protection as well. And Zordon's right, because Zordon does say, Rita's sort of tapped into the Morphin Grid, she's looking for a Navigator, she's looking for the Master Arch. If she finds a way to bring Dark Spectre into this universe, we're all done for. The universe is done for. So once again, they're hyping up with how much of a big threat Dark Spectre is, which is something I really freaking love, because Dark Spectre has been hyped up as this big bad villain in the comics, because the Mighty Morphin team have never run into him, so they don't know the extent to his power. But if he comes into this universe, we kind of know what's going to happen with Power Rangers in space later down the line, but he's built up to be this bigger threat than he was in the TV show, and I kind of like that. I like that a lot. But going back to the whole Lord Zed and Grace interaction, I freaking loved it. One thing I love about Melissa's writing with this run is the interactions that the characters have with each other. Like, when Grace is having that discussion with Zed, Zed's like, the only thing I have in mind is vengeance. And once I'm getting get out of here, I'm gonna go mess up Rita and make her pay. And Grace is like, you're talking pretty big for a guy that nearly died a few days ago. And Zed's like, I've got my own strategy, don't worry. But once I deal with Rita, I haven't forgotten about you. And Grace just simply replies with, it's a shame because I've already forgotten about you, but thanks for Serpentera, we're gonna put it to good use. And I freaking love that, such a badass line. But not only that, we've also got some nice wholesome moments in this issue as well, where we get to see Jason again, which is really cool. And I like that sort of panel where Jason's still looking after his dad, and his dad asks Jason to get the door. And with the artwork, the attention to detail, which the artwork looks pretty freaking sweet in this issue, I will say that. Once again, Simona does a fantastic job with the art. But the scene where Jason's dad is just sitting on the couch, you can see him sort of like, one slipper's on the ground, and the position that he's drawn in is he's sort of about to take off the other slipper, which we've all been there before. We put one down, we're about to kick off the other one. I really like that attention to detail. But Tommy and Jason get to have this interaction in this issue, something I really enjoy, where Tommy, like I mentioned earlier on in the review, Tommy's having some doubts with the decisions that he's been making, and he's worried about Matt being out there, but Jason reassures him that being a ranger, you've got to make tough decisions, and it's not your fault because Matt would have made the same sacrifice, or Tommy would have made the same sacrifice if you were in his position. And Tommy has some doubt about that, saying, you don't know that. But like I said, Jason reassures him, saying, hey, I know you wouldn't do that, and it's not your fault, I promise. And then they have this big bro hug, and they hug it out, and that's where it ends. But it was cool seeing Jason show up in this issue again. I'm glad that Melissa's still including him, being the support that the Rangers need, because Jason had all that experience as a leader, so I'm glad that Jason's that character, that he'll show up for a few comedic scenes here and there, but he's also being sort of like the shoulder for our heroes to lean in when they're in peril. So a lot of people are saying, I want Jason to morph again in the comic, and I get it, people want Jason to morph again. We probably won't see it until like we get a Zeo reenactment or something, or whatever, like if they flip the script or something like that. But I just like seeing Jason's showing back up and sort of being the support. I think it's really nice. So in this issue, we see Alpha 1 coming to Safe Haven with a horde of putties, and we get this really cool fight scene between Alpha 1 and the Omegazords, and it's really freaking cool. And it almost seems like Alpha 1 is sort of going to get the jump on Trini again, like he did last time, but Trini's got a plan, and this is what I love about Trini in the comics. She's got a plan, and she's ready to go. And I freaking love what she does here, because Alpha 1 is getting cocky, thinking that he won because he did the same thing twice, and basically what they do is they install a firewall into like the Zord to stop it from getting hacked, and that way Alpha 1 just gets blown to shreds, and he's sort of fallen to pieces again. But again, Alpha 1 gets captured, which I can tell that's probably just what his plan was, his master plan was in the end, so that way Rita can come eventually, because he did track their signal. So I get the feeling that Alpha 1 purposely probably got himself captured, so that way he can find out whatever information or plan that the Rangers are doing and send it back to Rita. That's my big brain theory right there. I think that's what's going to happen. Or not, but Alpha 1 was cocky enough to sort of go to Safe Haven alone with an army of putties and fight the Rangers, which didn't turn out so well for him. But like I said, cool fight scene. Cool fight scene indeed. So the last couple of pages are really interesting. We see Grace talking with Torona, and we see that Grace has her own navigator in her own possession, and it looks like she's going to be using it to find Matt. But I get the feeling she might be using it for other purposes, and that might be finding whatever strong allies they can find through the other dimension with the Master Forge or the Master Rorch. So they could be using it for that, but I get the feeling they're going to use the navigator to track down Matt and sort of teleport to his location. But you can sort of see where Grace realizes what's at stake here and how risky this plan is, and she has second thoughts. And Grace has always been this character that sort of always goes with her gut, has a plan within a plan, but seeing how sort of the circumstances has changed and with everything going on, you can kind of see those seeds of doubt being placed into Grace's mind. So, the last few pages is where it gets crazy, and I know I've jumped all over the place with this issue and probably not talked about some other stuff compared to this stuff, but these last few pages were freaking crazy. A lot of people on social media who got review copies early, and even Melissa, who was saying you guys aren't going to be prepared for Wednesday when this issue drops, and I was like, oh my god, what's going to happen with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 106, especially the last page. Everyone was hyping up who got their review copies early. And here's what happened. So there's this guard who's sort of talking smack to Zed, saying, oh, what are you meant to be, the Emperor of Evil? Or did you earn that title, or did someone give it to you? And the dude sort of taunts him by saying, hey, if you're the Emperor of Evil, I'm the Sultan of, like, Strahd and Freelude? I don't know what that is. But what Zed does, because the guy keeps taunting him, he basically grabs the guard through the force field and walks out. After that, we sort of see the security breach happening, and Lord Zed had sort of walked through all these guards without his staff. Without his staff, mind you. He hasn't used his staff to take out these guards. He's like been slugging them barehandedly, which is pretty freaking cool, because it's like bodies upon bodies of them in the hallway. So this is where Zed says he's holding something in his hand, and Zed says, this was a special surprise I left for the Rangers, but I refashioned it for a different purpose. And now I believe and then he says, what's that word that the Rangers say when they transform again, or when they activate it? Oh yeah, it's morphin time. And then we see the Zed morpher, like the reverse morpher, where he holds it up. So he's basically holding the morpher, but the other way around, so we see the Z, which is the Z from the Zyuranger, for the Dino Buckler. And then on the final page, we see Lord Zed transformed into a Ranger. And I gotta say, it looks pretty freaking cool, because it's kind of like the Green Ranger V2 form, or the Bat and Sun Green Ranger, whatever you want to call it. And it's basically red, and it basically looks like that. That's how he looks like he's used it, because you kind of see like the gloves and stuff like that taking that shape and form with the gloves and the boots, and not only that, the streaks running across it. It's a really freaking cool design, but not only that, you sort of see the tubes running across them as well. It's a really cool design, and I can't wait to see it next week. And I can't wait to see how powerful Lord Zed is going to be in this new form, because you sort of see this red electric spark surrounding him. It's a pretty freaking cool form. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 106, my recap, my review, my podcast, whatever you want to call it, my discussion. And overall, I thought this was a great issue. Once again, the comic cover freaking threw me off with the Vessel and Matt and the Death Ranger on there, thinking that these characters would play some role in the issue, but no, it's just a cool cover. So once again, I was tricked, and I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it, because what we got in the end was really freaking cool. Because I think if they showed Lord Zed's new form on the cover, that would have been a big freaking spoiler, because that's like the final page reveal. But either way, this issue was really awesome. I can't wait to see where it's going to go next, like I say, every month. And once again, Melissa is doing a fantastic job, along with everyone on the team working on this issue. But anyway, guys, what did you think of MMPR issue 106? Love it? Hate it? Tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. With that said, I'm out of here. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.